Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we took on the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round, and we got a little bit of a scare from them as we were originally down 2-0 in the series. But we bounced back with 4 straight wins, and it was a pretty good performance from our team in general after we lost those 2 games, because a lot of our lines started coming out and scoring, including our top 6, which hadn't really got much offense done in the first rounds. So it was great to see them pop up and eventually score some goals. But you could see we lost 4-2 in game 1, lost 3-2 in overtime in game 2, but then bounced back with a 3-2 win, a dominant 6-1 win, a 4-3 win in overtime, and a 6-3 win in Carolina. And now we're up against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the conference finals. The winner of this series will face either the Edmonton Oilers or the Dallas Stars for the Stanley Cup. So it should be pretty interesting to see who ends up doing so. Hopefully we can get to that Stanley Cup finals because we haven't been there before. And this is the farthest we've ever been in a playoff run before, other than a few years ago when we went to the conference finals. I forget who we lost against, but we got to the conference finals one time before this. So anyways, before we get simulating, let's take a look at the roster again just to give you guys a little bit of a brief overview of what they look like. They're a much better team than some of the other teams we've faced so far in this playoff run, but you can see they got some really good acquisitions that they got at the deadline, like Datsuk and Hayduk were both brought in. They also brought in like Josh Williams in the offseason from the Ottawa Senators, who we played last year. They brought in, who else was it? Tony Lidman from New Jersey, I think it was. Like, they made a couple of trades at the deadline to get their team better, and they have a pretty solid roster for the most part. They do have an injury to Nick Antropov at the moment, which is good, but he will be back for a Game 5 situation if the series is going to go that long, which it probably will. I feel like this series could go 7 games probably just because they actually have a pretty good top 6, and most of the other teams we've faced haven't had as good of top 6s, I would say. But yeah, I'd say this series could go 7 games for sure, especially with Pavel Datsuk being added to this roster via the trade deadline, where he actually went over point per game in the regular season. He hasn't been actually that great in the playoffs so far, which is kind of a surprise, but he'll probably pick it up at some point, I would assume. But anyways, let's get into this conference finals matchup and see if we could get to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in franchise history and do something that the Atlanta Thrashers never did in real life. Then again, the Atlanta Thrashers in real life never won a playoff series before that, and we did that already like pretty early into this franchise mode series. So here we go, let's get into game number 1. Once again, we have home ice advantage. The only way we won't have home ice advantage is if we play the Oilers in the Cup Finals. That's the only way we won't have home ice, I think. So here we go, game 1, first period, and we're down 1-0, so we're trailing after 1 as we normally do, it seems like. And Pavel Datsuk opens the scoring. As I was saying, he was a little bit quiet in the first few rounds, but of course he has to open the scoring in this round. Shots are 10-9 in favor of us, so a pretty even first period, but they have the only goal. And actually, I forgot to put Brian Elliott in that, which really sucks because now we're probably going to lose this game. Because I've been giving Brian Elliott majority of the starts because he's been way better than Carey Price has, so yeah, if Carey Price loses us this game, we're going back to Brian Elliott for sure. I don't know why Carey Price is starting again. Probably just because he's a little bit better overall-wise, but he doesn't simulate like he's better, actually. So, second period, down 2-0. Carey Price is really going to hand us an L right now, isn't he? Lidman makes it 2-0, so 2 of the acquisitions that they acquired at the deadline have been helping them out so far, but we are outshooting them 22-17, so we've been outperforming them so far to an extent, but we haven't been able to score on their goaltending just yet. Let's see what happens here in this third period. I really should have checked to make sure Brian Elliott was in net first, because this game could be the deciding one in the entire series. Who knows? Come on, boys. Can we at least get 1 goal? Our offense was really good then last round, and DeAndre Brody's going to get us a goal to pull us within 1. Can we tie it up? We got time to get it done. Come on, boys. Yes, we can. Brock Bork. Okay, I was not expecting us to actually tie it up. We were down 2-0 to start this third period, but we bounced back with 2 late goals in the final 7 minutes. And yeah, we're outshooting them badly, 40-25. It is a tie game. Can we win this game in OT? And will Carey Price get his first win since like the first round, I think? Since game 1 in the first round, I think. Yeah, I don't think he's won the game since then. And yes, we can. And Mike Camilleri scores in OT on the 47th shot. So we dominated that game. And Carey Price is going to actually get a win in net. That's something I never thought I would see, is another win from Carey Price this playoff run, because he has not been good at all. But we come back from a 2-0 deficit and win as Brody gets his first in the playoffs from Camilleri and Malkin, Bork from Kuznetsov, and Carey Price picks up an assist. Okay, I see you, Carey. And then Mike Camilleri with the game-winning goal, his 9th goal of the playoffs from Jalen Wall. But Camilleri picks up his first playoff assist in that game because he's now got like 9 goals and 1 assist. He's just been a pure shooter for us. So very impressed with Camilleri in this playoff run so far. Couple minus players, and it was our top line again, and a good performance from Carey Price, which you don't see every day. I think I'm going to go back to Brian Elliott, though, for next game, because I don't trust Price in back-to-back games, because usually he has a really good game to start the series, and then he kind of drops the ball in the next game. So, but Camilleri the first star, Price the second star, and Datsuk the third. But yeah, I think I'm going to Brian Elliott just because I don't trust Price, like I said, in back-to-back games at all. Because if we go back to the first round performance against Montreal, he won this game 2-1 in OT, and then he lost 5-1. So he's more than likely going to have a bad game if we keep him in net. So we'll go back to Brian Elliott, see if Brian Elliott could continue what he was doing in the first 2 rounds, which was some pretty phenomenal work. He had a very good save percentage and goals against wise and winning percentage. But as you can see, Carey Price, on the other hand, has not been that great. Even though he just had a really good game, he has still not been as good as somebody like Brian Elliott has in terms of like career playoff numbers as well. So, with the addition of Brian Elliott in our lineup, I think we're just going to keep the rest of the lineup the exact same as it is and see if we could take a 2-0 series lead here in this conference finals against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like I said, I feel like this series would probably go 7 games if any series would, just because Toronto is a much deeper team than like Carolina and Montreal are. So you never know. Let's get into game number 2 though. See if we could take a 2-0 series lead on the Leafs. First period, and we're down 1-0 again, but still not a bad first period. Shots are 9-8 in favor of us, and it's Bonnet who's on their 4th line, I think, opening and scoring. So not a bad first period, still pretty tight. Let's see what happens here in the second, and we're down 3-1. Maybe I shouldn't have put Brian Elliott in net, I don't know, because he's allowed 3 goals on 12 shots, which is not like him really. So maybe we'll go back to Carey Price for next game, because maybe Brian Elliott's just a good goalie in the first 2 rounds. But Kovalchuk tied the game up, but then Vijay scores a power play goal, and Ramberg gives them a 3-1 lead. We're outshooting them 19-12, but we're down by 2 goals. Can we have another third period comeback, or are we going to have a tied series headed to Toronto? Come on, boys, get some goals. Anybody want to score for us? Penalty kill. No goals. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to get shut down in the third period. Their goaltender is actually pretty good, whoever's in net right now. And yep, we're going to end up losing 3-1 in game 2, despite outshooting 31-22. Our only goal coming from Ilya Kovalchuk from Wall and Bergeron. Kovalchuk got a star at least in that game, but yeah, that Blair goalie is pretty good. I think I'm going to go back to Carey Price for next game, which is something I didn't think I was going to say at the beginning of this episode, but Carey Price got a win. Brian Elliott wasn't super bad in that game, but I think I'm going to go back to Carey Price just to see if he could actually win 2 games in a series. And then maybe I'll change our lines back to the way they were at some point. That top line is still pretty badly minus. I think I'm going to flop Malkin and Kemp again just to get that back to normal, the way we had it originally. And I think we will keep the defensemen the way they are. And then, yeah, we're going to go back to Carey Price, which sounds really weird. I could throw Ivanov back into the lineup, but I don't think I want to do that, because Henricius hasn't been that bad as a depth or like a replacement piece right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it like that. So Malkin back to the top line. Let's see if that top line can continue to produce, and hopefully Kemp can get that second line going again. And yeah, hopefully we don't lose some games in Toronto. Hopefully we could take some wins on the road, because we've been a pretty good road team so far in this postseason. So let's see what happens here in game number 3 in Toronto. See if we could take a 2-1 series lead. First period, and we're up 2-0. Let's go. Malkin and Kovalchuk. Okay, that top line is getting going again. That's good to see. Both Russians scoring. We're out shooting them 13-9. And a good start from Carey Price as well, actually, in that period. So hopefully he can keep it up all game long. Second period, we're up 5-1. Okay, we're dominating this game, which is a little scary because I feel like our offense is just going to dry out completely after this. But Kovalchuk makes it 3-1. And then Ferguson, actually no, 3-0. Then Ferguson made it 4-0. Antropov comes back from his injury and scores. And then Kuznetsov scores. And yeah, we're up 5-1 going into the third, despite being outshot 23-21. So Very good performance so far from Carey Price, so let's just lock this down. But yeah, much better performance offensively, and it looks like Carey Price is a new player in this conference finals. Frolov makes it 6-1, but I am kind of scared that our offense is literally going to dry up after this game. I've seen it happen way too many times. Hamel makes it 6-2, and that probably is going to be the final. Oh, VJ makes it 6-3, and that is going to be the final. 7-3 as Kuznetsov gets an extra goal. Very good offensive performance. Price kind of dropped the ball near the end of that game, but at least we scored a lot of goals, so it made up for it. But a very good offensive game from our team. So Kovalchuk from Malkin and Bergeron, Malkin from Kovalchuk and Bergeron, Kovalchuk from Malkin and Bergeron. Literally the same thing I just said 3 times in a row. And then Ferguson from Kemp and Houghton, Kuznetsov from Henriches, Frolov from Henriches, and Kuznetsov from Bork and Henriches. So looks like the third line and the top line had the most of the offense in that game. And any minus players, a couple minus players, and that was our fourth line, surprisingly. And yeah, a decent game from Carey Price, actually, save percentage-wise. Goals against, not fantastic, but still a much better performance than he was doing in the first round. 3 stars, Kovalchuk the first star with 3 points, Malkin the second star with 3 points, and Kuznetsov the third star with 2 goals. So all Russian players, I'm pretty sure. I think Kuznetsov's Russian. He might be Ukrainian, I don't know. But all Soviet Union players, I should say. Or USSR players. So we have a 2-1 series lead on the Toronto Maple Leafs as we take another road game, which is nice. A coin is back for the AHL. I don't know if the AHL team's still in the playoffs, are they? Because they might be actually in the finals almost as well. Yeah, it looks like they're in the conference finals. So go Manitoba. Hopefully you can win against Bakersfield. Well, we have a 2-1 series lead. Can we take a 3-1 stranglehold on the Leafs, or are we gonna have a tie series again, headed back home? Hopefully our offense didn't dry up after this game. Please don't dry up. First period, didn't scoreless. Okay, it dried up there for a little bit, but we're out shooting him 13-8, so we're getting still opportunities, and still Carey Price has been much better in the conference finals than he was in the first round, which sounds something like Carey Price would do, to be honest. Second period, and we're down 1-0. VJ scores again, so VJ has been one of their better players, it seems like, in this playoff run. Shots are 25-20 in favor of Toronto. We're only down by a goal. Can somebody tie it up for us? Power play opportunity for them. They don't score on it. Come on, who wants to score to tie us up, please? Penalty kill, another turn. Come on, kill it. Nicely done. Power play opportunity for us. We don't score on it. And now we're going to tie it up late, and it's Vladimir Frolov on the fourth line, and Camilleri scores, and Racine ties it right back up for them. Of course, Carey Price likes to give up a lot of late goals in games, it seems like, but shots are 37-26 in favor of the Leafs, but we have a 2-2 game, so Carey Price has kept us in this game for sure. Can we get an OT winner again? We've been phenomenal in OT so far in this playoff run. Who wants to score the OT winner for us? Come on, boys. Camilleri, you score a lot of OT goals, so I'm going to call on you again. Power play opportunity. It's a long power play opportunity, and we don't convert on it. That's not good. We're actually getting pretty close in shots again, so we're definitely dominating the OT situation. It's now 45-41 the shots, so yeah, we definitely picked it up a lot in that first overtime period. We know the game is going to end pretty quick here. Second OT underway. Who's going to score? It is going to be on the power play, maybe? Wow, that was the longest second overtime I think I've saw, and we win in OT. It's Ilya Kovalchuk who sends us to go up 3-1 in the series, and we're 1 win away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Thank you, Ilya Kovalchuk. But yeah, we had a much better OT period. Like, if we look at the shot chart, you can see that in OT, we outshot them 18-9. So we completely dominated OT, and that got us back in that game. We also dominated on the face-off dot in OT as well, so very good performance from the boys to get that win on the road, and we've won back-to-back games in Toronto as well, and Carey Price has been actually pretty good, which is something I didn't really think I was going to say, like I said earlier. So Frolov from Pispin and Wolski, good to see that fourth line getting going again. And then Camilleri from Henriches and Kuznetsov, and Kovalchuk from Henriches and Houghton. And so Henriches being back in the lineup instead of Ivanov has been helping us out a lot as well. Even though I really do like Ivanov, Henriches seems to be a better playoff player. So Carey Price getting first star of the game. Look at him. And then Blair, the second star for Toronto, tried to keep the game as close as he could, but he couldn't. And then VJ gets the third star. So we have a 3-1 series lead. Can we close out a 3-1 series lead is the thing, because last time we had a 3-1 series lead like this, we lost 3 straight games. I really hope that doesn't happen here, especially in the conference finals. If we win this game, we don't really know who we're going to be facing yet. Edmonton and Dallas are both tied. Can we head to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in franchise history? We'll do a real-time simulation, maybe. Actually, maybe not, because that usually jinxes me. First period of Game 5, and it's 1-1, okay. Bergeron gets a power play goal, so our top line is getting going. We're also shooting them 15-8, so I am very impressed with this team right now. Second period, and they take the lead. That's not good. Staubitz, who is, I believe, a third or fourth liner, scores. Looks like Carey Price is maybe having a rough game by comparison to his other games. 2 goals on 13 shots. We have 23 shots and only 1 goal. Looks like maybe their goalie's trying to bounce back from last game, even though he did play really good last game. Let's see what happens here in this third period. Can we tie this one up? Come on, boys. Or are we going to a Game 6 situation? Penalty kill. Nicely done. Come on, boys. Kovalchuk, Camilleri, penalty kill again. We're not going to score on that. Looks like Toronto might fight to save another day. Maybe not. Henriques scores to tie the game up at 2. Are we going to another OT situation? Yes, we are. My God. I think we've been in like 4 or 5 OTs in this entire playoff run so far. We are dominating them 35-16 in shots. It's a tie game though, so their goalie's definitely fighting for his life right now. Can we score an OT winner in Atlanta to send us to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in franchise history? Let's see what happens. I would normally watch something like this. Oh, and we are going to win it. Okay. I was going to say it could take forever, though, for us to score, but Ilya Kovalchuk has sent the Atlanta Thrashers to the Stanley Cup Finals. Of course, it's an OG player of the Atlanta Thrashers, technically to an extent as well, in Kovalchuk, and he sends us to the Cup Finals. After a 5-game defeat of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't even know how we beat them in that fast of fashion, because literally Toronto and Carolina, or not Toronto and Carolina, Carolina and Montreal were worse teams, but they took less of a harder effort actually to beat them than the Toronto Maple Leafs did. So Bergeron from Kovalchuk and Kemp, Henriques from Bork and Kuznetsov, and Kovalchuk with the game-winning goal from Bergeron and Malkin. But we're off to the Stanley Cup Finals, and Carey Price has woken up as well a little bit. He didn't have a great game save percentage-wise last game, or this game, but he didn't face a lot of shots, so 3 stars in that game. Kovalchuk the first star, Bergeron the second star, and Staubitz the third. But we are off to the Cup Finals. It's about time, especially after last year losing to the eventual champions in Ottawa. But we're going to the Cup Finals against it looking like maybe Dallas, which might be interesting. Well, let's see who we're facing in the Cup Finals after we take a look at our player stats for the playoffs. But I'm very happy with how this team has been performing in the playoffs so far. There's been a couple scares, but at least we've been winning games, and also the depth scoring has been really good for the fourth line. Frolov 14 points in 17 games, Malkin 14 points as well, Houghton 14 points, Bergeron 13 points. Our basically our centers are really good, I guess, on this team, and Kuznetsov 11 points. Left wing wise, Kovalchuk 13 points, Camilleri's got 11 points, only 1 assist but 10 goals. Kemp 9 points. He's been a little bit quiet lately. Henriques 8 points, Pispinen 7 points, Ivanov 2 points, Wolski 12 points, and Bork 11 points. So yeah, the offense has been really good. Very good depth scoring in terms of all our lines. And then defensively, we've been getting points from our blue line as well. Ferguson, Brody, and Kandreyev all 5 points. Wall and Martinez both have 3 points, and Conley had 1 goal. And all of them are plus as well, which is fantastic. Seeing Brody being a plus 11 is really nice to see, because normally he's not that good of a defenseman in terms of keeping the puck out of the net, but he's doing that good this year. And then goalie-wise, Brian Elliott's fantastic. Carey Price also waking up at the right time to send us to the Cup Finals. Both goalies also have an assist in this playoff run too, so everybody on this team has a point. And I think Carey Price will start the Stanley Cup Finals based on how he played in the conference finals. But obviously we could always turn to Brian Elliott if we actually need him to. But very impressed with the team. Obviously it's not been the deepest offensive, we're not scoring a whole lot of goals, but we are getting depth scoring. And depth scoring is very important in the playoffs. Because, like, at the moment, we're scoring 3.47 goals per game. We're the third best offensive team in the playoffs. Edmonton's number 1 currently, so hopefully we don't have to face them. And in goals against wise, we are one of the best defensive teams. Our power play has been terrible, but we've still been winning. And our penalty kill has been really good so far in this postseason. So, interesting. And we're 7-1 on the road, it said, which is pretty great. So, who are we going to face in the Stanley Cup Finals? Is it going to be Dallas? Or is it going to be Edmonton? It is going to be the Dallas Stars. Okay. We are going to be facing the Dallas Stars for the Stanley Cup. They had a 42-35-4-1 record during the regular season. We had a 48-24 6-4 record. So before we take a look at their roster, let's take a look at how we simulated as opposed to them during the regular season and currently in the playoffs. And then we will take a look at what they look like. So entire league-wise, let's see. They weren't even top 10 in the league, were they? No, they weren't. They're all the way down here at 13. So they had 89 points. And we finished with 106. So we almost had 20 more points than them in the regular season, which is a little scary because they might be a bit of a cheese team. They scored 3.41 goals per game, while we scored 3.68. So they're a pretty solid offensive team, I would say. Goals against wise is where they're struggling. It seems like 3.34 goals against per game, while we had 2.87. So we're a much better defensive team, apparently. But who knows about the playoff numbers. Power play percentage-wise, they were 19% on the power play, while we were 15.3, so they're much better on the power play. And then in terms of their penalty kill, they were 81.3% on the penalty kill, and we were 83.6. So we're a little bit better on the penalty kill. How about the playoffs? Let's take a look at this. So we'll just sort by the wins so we can have them both on the top. So goals for per game wise, we are scoring more than them by a little bit, not by a whole lot. They're a better defensive team than us in the playoffs so far, which is kind of interesting, but still pretty tight because only 2 goals difference. They've only played 1 more game than us as well. They're 12-6, we're 12-5. Our power play has been way worse than theirs, and their penalty kill has been pretty good. But our road record is fantastic. I like how we've been playing on the road. On home ice, we need to really get a little bit better, but still, very impressed with this team, and hopefully we can win our first Stanley Cup against the Dallas Stars. Hopefully they're not too deep of a team, because if they're a cheese team, we might lose. If they're too deep of a team, we might lose. We want something that's nice and comfortable in the middle. So let's see what they look like. So here is their forward core. So they have Dylan Genther, who's 29 years old, only an 81, but still a fantastic player. Almost point per game in the playoffs. They also have Landon McCallum, who's another really good player. Looks like point-wise in the playoffs. They have 17 points in 18 games. And Jyrki Suhonen. Oh, yeah, that guy was with Columbus. That's why I recognized him. He's also pretty good. So, yeah, we got to shut down that top line for sure. Second line, they have Simon Knack, Riley Kidney, and Alex Semin, who they picked up at the deadline, I would think. So, they have a lot of random, like, WHL and QMJHL and OHL prospects, it seems like. Because they have Knack, Kidney, McCallum, and Genther. And then the third line, they have Olli Latinen, Zach Dean, who's another QMJHL prospect, and Matthew Picard. And then fourth line, James Molesto, who's another WHL prospect, I think, with like Prince George. I don't know why I'm thinking Prince George. No, Quebec, never mind, in QMJHL. Curtis Brown is on their fourth line, somehow still playing. And Elliot Green. So their forward core isn't terrible. It's not that bad either. A lot of random, like I said, CHL players from the current times. And then defensively, they have Jyrki Karatinen. He's only played 2 seasons. He was a medium elite defenseman that went 3rd overall 2 years ago. They also have Angelo Maxwell, Nathan Mayer, Yoni Pikkinen in Dallas. That's kind of cool. Christian Charnquist, and Caden Kemp, who we could say is the brother of the Kemp we have on our team. So their defensive core, I wouldn't say is fantastic, but it's not the worst defensive core I've seen from an AI team. Goalie-wise, they have Rick DiPietro, who took us out in the playoffs last year when we played the Ottawa Senators, so that's a little bit scary. I forgot that he signed in Dallas. He's actually had a really good playoff so far, too. And David Abisher is their backup. When did we play him? I think we played him when he was in Tampa Bay a couple times. And then depth-wise, they have Maurice Fleury, and Nick Cronwall's currently out with an injury, so Once Nick Cromwell comes back, that defensive core is actually pretty legit. But for right now, Nick Cromwell's out with an injury, and hopefully he's out kind of long term, because if he is, that will give us a better chance of beating these guys, because once Nick Cromwell's back, he actually puts up a decent amount of points in the simulation, I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look at how long he's out for. Hopefully we can take advantage of his injury. And he is not back for, over a month. He fractured his collarbone, so we are in luck, and hopefully we can take advantage of there being no Nick Cromwell. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in franchise history as we look to beat the Dallas Stars and claim our cup. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.